Hello, and welcome to Conversations with Cheryl Weston. We're happy to have you join us today. And our special guest will be Cammie Watkins, who is the Executive Director of Inclusive Communities. And we want to bring Cammie in, who we're going to be talking today about an upcoming event, August 1st. And, well, instead of me going through and telling you all about it, let's just bring Cammie in and let her explain what this is all about. Hi, Cammie.
Hi, Cheryl.
How are you?
I'm good. And yourself?
Oh, I can't complain. Nobody wants to listen anyway.
They do. That's why you have a show. We want to
Yeah.
listen to you.
Uh, Thank you. As I would start telling our audience, instead of me going in and giving the information, I thought we'd just get it right straight from Cammie, who's involved with this. This is a 70-year awards that is going to take place in August 1st. And Cammie, can you tell us what is the awards about this particular that's gone on for 70 years?
Yes, so the Humanitarian Awards is actually our primary fundraiser, but also has always been focused on celebrating people in our community who have been exemplifying our vision and our mission of confronting prejudice, bigotry, and discrimination, and
Mhm.
really um, upholding the dignity of all people. And so the event started in 1955 here in Omaha, and our organization actually started in 1938. So it was a few years after we had started the organization that they decided they wanted to start recognizing leaders in the community who were really upholding our mission and the vision of then NCCJ, which stood for National Conference for Christians and Jews,
Mhm.
and then later evolved to the National Conference for Community and Justice, which then in the 2000s evolved into inclusive communities, who we are today.
And it's always involved if you keep sticking around long enough.
Yes. Yes, and so like our name is like the evolution of the this awards has also shifted. The original name of the award was the Brotherhood Award
Okay.
because the main purpose of the organization when we started in 1938 was centered around like this concept of the brotherhood of man. Like how
Okay.
do we really start to uplift this idea that we are all um, equal and our differences are what strengthens us and it strengthens the democracy of this country. And we were about upholding the American values of the brotherhood of man. And so these were called the Brotherhood Awards. And the first winners were the Brotherhood Award winner of the year. But to be more inclusive, and as the year, I think around they changed the name to Humanitarian of the year to be broader and to really look at not only folks that were just upholding kind of the American values, but upholding the values of all individuals who deserve to live with dignity, respect, and with
Mhm.
justice.
Great. And since that time, and it became part of now your organization, and I remember I thought I heard you say this is used as a fundraiser
Mhm.
event to be. How is the awardees? How is that determined?
Yes, so we actually have within our staff, we throughout the year, so there's actually five different awards or four that we are giving out this year, but there are five awards that we do give out typically. And the Humanitarian of the Year award was the first one, and that was often there in the past, there used to be a committee
Hmm.
that would nominate individuals and select. That's now we have our staff would nominate individuals that we've seen, just kind of watching in the community, doing really cool and interesting things.
Right.
And then from that, then we select and choose from that list. And that's essentially how we've done it for the Humanitarian of the Year and the Otto Swanson, which is the second longest award, which started in 1987 is when we
Okay.
started giving out the Otto Swanson Partner of the Year award. And one of the interesting things as you look over the history of our award winners, and we have the full list of everyone who's ever won an award on our website, on our Humanitarian Awards page, and that's just
Okay.
inclusive-communities.org/awards. The awardees of the Humanitarian of the Year often tended to be philanthropists.
I see.
And so it was like people that had that financial capacity. And I think in like 1987, the organization really realized we'd kind of like limited ourselves to only honoring people who had money to give, but weren't also giving with their time. And so they added the Otto Swanson Award, and Otto Swanson is one of our founders. And that's when we were able to start really recognizing not only philanthropists, but also people, volunteers, and activists in the
Right.
community. So Bob Armstrong was actually the first African American to
I
win.
remember Mr.
Uh,
Armstrong. Yeah. Yeah.
yep. So it was 1989. And he was one of the first, he was the first African American to win one of our awards in the humanitarian event. And he was given the Otto Swanson Spirit of Service Award.
Well, he was well deserving because he did do a lot of volunteering, a lot of community and corporate, I mean, from that, a lot of things happened underneath his leadership. And I see this year it's going to be Central Hispano. How,
So, yes. So, Central Hispanos is a nonprofit that's based in Columbus, Nebraska.
oh,
And
great.
yes, so we're super excited. So, in the 70 years, I was like, how can we do some things that this will be a first
Hmm.
for us? And I don't believe that we have recognized an organization outside of the Omaha Metro in the history of the organization, even though we have always served the entire state of Nebraska. So
Right.
while we're based in Omaha, we have always served all of Nebraska as
Hmm.
well as parts of Iowa. And so Central Hispano does a lot of work around promoting support for immigrant community members and like promoting opportunities for um, agency as well as like this justice for them. So they do get out the vote work. They are really boots on the ground in Columbus and in the Norfolk area and Schuyler area
Hmm.
of activating those communities to promote the rights for communities of color there. So it started mostly with Latinos because that is the largest
Population
community of
there,
color population.
minority or color
Yeah.
persons
Mhm.
of color. Yes. Hmm.
Yeah, there. And but they also are they support all community members and it's
Hmm.
expanded into that. And we actually started had first kind of interacted with them in 2018
Okay.
and had learned about some of the work that they were doing. And then they in 2023 they became our first partner where we expanded table talks. So we've been
Oh,
doing
yeah.
table talks since 2013. They came to us and said, hey, we want to launch a Columbus Table Talks.
Hmm.
Can you help us? And so we consulted with them and they had their first table talk in 2023 and or 2024 and then their second one in 2025. So they've already hosted two Columbus Table Talks and have launched that program in their community.
Great, great. And it looks like you're going to be Joni Willard, who is in the corporate leadership. And what's that award for?
Yes, so the Corporate Leadership Award just started in 2022,
Okay.
and that was in honor of Mart Sedke, who was the Vice President of Human Capital for OPPD. Mart was a huge supporter of inclusive communities, and she passed away from brain cancer a few years ago. And Tim Burke and his wife were wanted to honor her legacy. She was actually a former chair
Hmm.
of the Humanitarian Awards event before she passed. And she actually is, along with Joyce Cooper, were the catalyst for our Lead Diversity program. If it wasn't for them, that program would not exist. And so we loved Mart and how much she cared for and was committed to this program. So we wanted to offer an award in her honor for those unsung heroes in corporate environments that behind the scenes, you don't often see them with big social media blast
Right.
and
Yeah.
talking about what they're doing. They're just
They
in
just get
the
it
community
done.
with. Mm-hmm.
Busy
And
people who get
yes,
things
yes.
done. Yeah.
And sometimes they have the title and sometimes they don't. And so that's what this award is really about, is honoring those individuals that are just nose to the grind and doing the work in a corporate setting. Because I think too often we see it in nonprofits,
Hmm.
and we champion that a lot, but we don't champion it in the for-profit sector. And that was the purpose of this award. And so this year, Joni Wheeler was nominated and selected for the award for her work in starting the Ignite program, if you've heard of that.
Yes.
It was a workforce development program that started in Blue Cross Blue Shield as a way for her to really try to elevate and bring young people into the corporate world, to particularly young BIPOC and underserved kiddos,
Hmm.
to help advance their opportunities in high paying wages. And because of that amazing work that she was a catalyst of, and the support of several others at Blue Cross Blue Shield, um, it now has actually branched off into its own separate nonprofit called Ignite.
Would you explain to people what that means, BIPOC? Because a lot of people, and I say like we, people like you and me, and when we're out, we know what the acronyms and things are, but somebody hears it and they're like, well, what kind of people are those? So,
Yes, 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 you're so right. I'm so sorry. So yeah, BIPOC stands for Black, Indigenous, and People of Color.
correct.
And the term came around in acknowledging that the experiences of Black people and Indigenous or Native people
Hmm.
are uniquely tied to inequity,
Correct.
that we want to ensure that we're really naming them when we're talking about people of color. But
Correct.
people of color meaning our Latino community, our Asian community,
Mhm.
and our multi racial community, everyone in between.
Which is a growing number as far as becoming in the in minority. It's
Mm-hmm.
multi. And so when you explain the volunteer of the year, and we all know what volunteer means, but how does Nicole Askins fit into this?
So yes, so Nicole Askin, so the Volunteer of the Year award, this is the one award that is really centered to people involved with inclusive communities. So
Okay.
this award started, I believe, in like 2006 or
Hmm.
so, sometime in the mid to early 2000s, where we wanted to just recognize and honor those folks who have put their blood, sweat, and tears into helping us move our mission forward. And we wanted to really just identify and exemplify those people. And what's new for this year is that we have named it the Howard and Gloria Caslow Volunteer of the Year Award. Howard and Gloria have actually been involved with our organization since the 80s and have been supporting both with their time, their talents, and their dollars since
Hmm.
then. And so we thought it would be a great addition in the 70th anniversary to name the award after them, after folks who have consistently
Hmm.
been in our corner and supporting us. But Nicole, this year was our volunteer of the year. Nicole actually was probably having one of the hardest years of her life. She actually lost her partner this year to
Okay.
cancer. And but while being a caretaker for him, she still showed up for us in
Hmm.
so many ways. Like if we needed, had moved offices at the beginning of 2024, and she was like, I had kind of made a post saying, "Hey, if anybody likes to move boxes or unpack, we just need some
Something
help."
I hate.
Yes, I hate it too. And
Oh,
everybody hates it. And I just was like, I'm just going to put it out there and see. And Nicole answered the call.
uh-huh.
And not only did she answer the call, she's like, I love this. And this woman came in and like organized a storage closet. She
Uh-huh.
put in her own money and was buying shelving and all of these things. Cause she's like, you know what, you're going to need this, you're going to need that. And
Uh-huh.
so she like donated so much of her time and her money in helping us just make our new office a space that we could actually really work in. But then on
Uh-huh.
top of that, like if we need folks to help with the mailing, she's there, like all of those, like filing. But then also she would jumped in and started learning our curriculum and was able to go out and do facilitation for us as well. And so she really just, and like there was so much going on in her life over this past year that she could have simply said, no, I've got to really focus on these pieces. But
Uh-huh.
she did. She even like, because things were good when she started with us, but she still stayed in there and was just so great. And so we wanted to make sure that we honored and recognized her.
Well, that's great. And, I think it's important, and that was one of the reasons why I called you and asked me to be involved is, let people know. We always see these signs and event flyers and things, but what is it really about? And then a lot of people, they get turned because they don't know. But when you get to know the history of why this is important, I think it produces more of a turnout in people being involved.
Hmm.
And one of the things, as our your flyer shows, it will be held. And what are the on Friday, August 1st, 2025, from 4 to 6 p.m. and at the Ralston, Nebraska, the Granary. I tell you that first time I went out there, I was like, where am I going? But I did find it. And actually, it's much easier if you just think of Ralston off of 84th Street and you keep going.
Yep.
Get
It's like
um
it's basically an extension of Omaha. You're barely
yeah, you don't,
but
but the moment you see it, it's like, oh, I don't know where this could be, but 70 years, and that's something to be very proud of, particularly the way things are now, where there's a lot of funding that is ceasing and so forth. Um, and then I want to talk about because I think this is something neat that you are doing, and I don't know if you've done this before or years, but you have some tickets that are going to be available. And so, can you kind of give us an idea about that? How much
yeah.
are the tickets? But because she's on our show today, we're going to have for the first 20 people that let me know, I'm going to send you a link so that you can get a free ticket. So, would you kind of tell them about that?
Yes. So the event, as I said, it's our fundraiser, and
Hmm.
especially right now, individual donors are how we're staying alive.
Hmm.
Uh, like it has been individual donors that have shown up for us the most to help us kind of keep our operations going, to be able to continue to do the work around promoting leadership development and community engagement and community building. And so tickets are $100, and that includes the event itself is a happy hour. We
Okay.
moved away after the pandemic that nobody wants to come and sit in a room and at a bunch of tables that you're assigned to sit at and just listen to like an hour and a half long presentation. So we shifted it up that this event is more about celebrating unity and community. And so you come and it's from 4 to 6.
Right.
We have a 35-minute award ceremony where then you'll get to hear from the awardees. And we encourage our awardees because we stopped having a national speaker because we realize the voices of our community are just as powerful. And
More
so
than, because
yes.
those are the people that other people can relate to and encourage. And if their participation, I know that I become involved in some things is because of the person who was being receiving that award or who was at that function, and I heard them. And
Hmm.
I think that was a great move is to have, we get away from bringing in, I'm always like all the talent and everything we have here in Omaha, Nebraska, and you always have to bring in someone to tell about Omaha, Nebraska. And so I think you made a very wise decision. I know you didn't ask me for that, but anyway, I'm going to give it is always give my 2 cents. Is that I think that's a neat ideal, and hopefully more and more people will get to that. Is you've got it right there. So
Hmm.
why are you bringing in? When I look at cost as wise and just think it's just so much more, and I believe it's a way to encourage Omahans to become involved.
Hmm.
And that's how you continue is to grow is with, as you said, individual donors, uh, their finances and their time. That's how you grow and you bring in, and that's part of being called inclusive. So
Yep.
kudos to you for that.
Yes. And then so like on top of, so as you mentioned, like the 20 tickets that you're able to give away,
Yeah.
we have since we shifted to this new format, we give away at a minimum 100 free tickets to this event a year.
Hmm.
And the goal is that we know that that price can be cost prohibitive for some folks,
Hmm.
but if we are truly going to be inclusive communities, we want the room to look
Hmm.
like the community that we serve. And our
I love
favorite
it.
part is
Yeah.
like mixing people from all parts. So you'll get a chance to like be sitting at near or having a conversation with Paul and Annette Smith
Hmm.
at a table who run Millwork Commons,
Hmm.
and you are and like Blanca Mejia last year who runs Project Diamond, which is a reentry for
Right.
men and women that are coming out of
Hmm.
incarceration, and it's kind of like a bridge for
Right.
them towards
Hmm.
resources. Like I loved seeing that, and so we want to continue that. But this year we added, let's have some friends of ours and ask you to invite your friends and give them
Exactly.
this free ticket offer so that we can bring in more people because this just broadens. So this makes this event both a fundraiser and a friend raiser, introducing folks to our
Hmm.
work, who we are as an organization, while also elevating these amazing people in our community who are doing great things. And in the acceptance speeches that we ask our awardees, we do tell them like, this is, you have a platform and there's a room of 200 plus people.
Hmm.
Share the message that you want to share about the work that you do. This is the time and the space. Last year, our Humanitarian of the Year winner was Shakur Abdullah,
Hmm.
who had been incarcerated since he was a young man and got out and immediately went into doing restorative justice work. So not many people go into prison and come out just to go right back in to help
Hmm.
others and to change their life circumstances. So
Very
in
true.
in the theme kind of last year was around incarceration, and our two of our winners both were folks that were doing that reentry
Hmm.
restorative justice work. And this year we have two of our winners are in that immigration support space. So it kind of ends up happening that way. Like it's slightly not always like planned, but we're excited that we're able to elevate space for people
Hmm.
that are working in that realm with this. But your ticket cost includes free food. So we have past appetizers. So there'll be folks going around with food, mocktails, as well as cocktails. Because again, we know not everybody is a drinker, and we don't feel like people should have to feel like, oh, I don't want to engage because I don't have alcohol. So we will have non-alcoholic beverages that aren't
Great.
just soda. So we
Hmm.
do have like fun little mocktails
Okay.
and NA beers and things, but all of that is included
In the
in that
ticket.
ticket price.
Yeah. Okay.
And then, oh, we also have activities.
Hmm.
So our event planners plan different activities. And then we also have free giveaways. Last year, we gave away like the clear fanny packs that you have to take into concerts and
Hmm.
sporting events and candles.
That's
This
neat.
year, yeah. And people are always like, do I have to pay for this? It's like, no, everything you see in here that we say you can take is free. So, like, once you get in that door, we don't make you pay for anything else. You've spent your money to get there, or you've invested your time to get there and support us. We do make a small ask, but like I don't like to say, okay, once you've got in there. So that's why it's important for us to sell the tickets and to get the sponsorships in advance so that when you come, you don't have to constantly be
Right.
being asked for more money.
Yeah. Well, I think it's great. And like I said, I'm gonna make you work for my ticket. So you just, if you want the ticket, I got 20 tickets. So after this is shown, I'll be running this on Conversations with Cheryl Weston, um, up till August, well, no, July 30th, because they need to have, they'll kind of have a good count. But I'm gonna make you, if you can't get up and get in and call, you got a free ticket. You know the number, you know our spot. You can email, you can messenger, Facebook us any way you want. If you want one of those tickets, you need to let me know because the first 20 people, they get the tickets.
And
So
I'll tell
I
you,
think,
it's a just a big old fun party.
yeah. Well, great. And
Everybody
we
that
need some
comes.
fun now. We need to have
Yes.
something that we can have a little laughter with. So, Cami, I really thank you because you are so busy. You are always on the run and going, and I really do appreciate. And I admire you for all the work that you do. And you don't give up.
Thank
You're
you.
a fascinating young lady. Um, and I just think that anything that you're putting in, we want to be able to support you in their effort. So we're going to work on making sure we get used to those 20. But I'm not going to put it on here how you get to unless you follow up, because then I know you watch the show. So I'll put it out there. Hey, you want this free ticket? It's a great event. The venue's great. Been there, as I said before. So this is people, this is an opportunity. You complain about not being involved and not being included. Here is inclusive communities following up what their mission and their goal is. This is an opportunity for you to participate. It's not going to cost you anything, but you will reap such great rewards. So with that, I'm going to throw it out again. If you want one of those free tickets, here is your opportunity. And anything you would like to add, Cami, before we leave?
I just want to say thanks so much for
Oh, yeah.
supporting us and inviting me to come on and helping promote this great event and these amazing honorees because joy is resistance. And
Mhm.
so we need to practice joy in these moments.
That's exactly. And again, I love the fact that because it is owning up to what your title is inclusive, and we need to have more. And we can do so much more when we are inclusive and together. There's always, as they say, numbers. The more we have and the more that we are involved in something is how we win and we make victory. So again, thank you so much. And folks, don't forget, August 1st is the day, but you need to get in touch with with Cheryl Weston by July 30th. So thanks again. Have a great day. Yeah.
You too. Bye bye.
Bye.